So are you ready with this difference between GUI and web design with real-time example?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the next lecture, we will have your presentation. And also in the next lecture, I am going to discuss all the case studies of first 3 unit and LP1 assignments. Okay, what you need to do, where you have to upload your assignments and what write-up you have to write for lab manual. Okay, so I will discuss with that. And also T3 batch student, if you are ready with paper prototyping and this of your user interface, if time permits, we will have that presentation also. Okay. So let us see the syllabus of the fifth unit. See this, your fourth unit is again, see here. It is usability evaluation universal design. So again here you have some theoretical concepts like designing for people, 7 commands. So you will get little much bored. So I think to start with the fifth unit where you are going to see how the interaction was developed right from the basic up till now, the current version. And again you have that ubiquitous computing, then pattern recognition system you have and machine learning. So we'll start with the fifth now. Okay, so let us see what is the syllabus for this. So first bit in this unit is what you need to study the paradigms for interaction. So what are they? First you have to study what is time sharing system, then what is video display unit, then programming toolkit, then personal computing, metaphor, then direct manipulation, hypertext, computer supported cooperative work, agent based interface. Okay, so these are nothing but the paradigms for interaction. This was the sample model through which your models of interaction were developed. Yes, so we are going to see the history of interaction, how the human computer interacted for the first time, then in the second generation, third generation. Okay, the next is what you are going to study ubiquitous computing, what it is actually, what is the purpose of it, what are the process to follow for it. Okay, so in that we are going to see what is sensor based context awareness interaction. Then see now this part is not related to your ubiquitous computing. Here you are going to learn what is data integrity versus data immunity, then handling missing data, data entry, auditing the data versus editing the data. It is related to your information retrieval. Okay, so again in this you are going to study 5 stage search framework, means how to search a data in a information retrieval process. So you are going to see this is the third bit. And the fourth bit is what you are going to study pattern recognition system. So where you have basic first introduction, then example, real time example or the app of pattern recognition system. Then what is the role of machine learning, okay, in the pattern recognition system. Then pattern recognition system process, how it works and how it is related to your HCI, okay, or how the HCI will work in the case of pattern recognition system. So what case study they have given here, you have to take one example of what real time pattern recognition system and you have to study the observations. Okay, how is the interface, so what all operators will be there, what will be the elements and how they are going to interact, and you have to write your observations and improvements there. Okay, so this case study will be again what on individual basis you have to do this. Okay, so we will start. So what all topics we are going to cover today is what is paradigms, then why it is required, then types of paradigms of interaction, and then examples we are going to see. Okay, so let us start. But what is first paradigms? Okay, so what it is, you can say paradigms are nothing but you can say it is a typical type of example or a type of software patterns. Okay, to look at something means what you are going to do, you are going to observe something and you are going to visualize something in your mind by seeing a particular object. Okay, so it depends upon this paradigms is nothing but a sample you are going to keep in your mind and you are going to view another object depending upon that sample. So there were some paradigms developed in the history and depending upon that your interaction models were developed. Yes, right from when the first computer was developed up till now what you have. Okay, so just remember paradigms are nothing but a visualization about something by keeping a view of the object in mind. So why to study these paradigms? Basically two important questions you have. Okay, So how can an interactive system be developed to ensure its usability? Always we are using this word right from the first unit, usability. But how to ensure whatever interface you have developed or whatever applications you are using, how to ensure that particular application is what usable? Usable means what? It is easy to use, easy to learn, easy to recall. Yes. So that kind of application have you developed? So you need to ensure that. Okay. And second is what? How can the usability of interactive system be demonstrated or measured? First point is saying that you have to ensure first. Okay, you have to check whatever system you have developed is usable according to the principle, whether it is user friendly. And second point says that if you are saying it is usable or user friendly, how you are going to measure that? Okay, so this measurement techniques you are going to study in the fourth unit, means how to evaluate your interface using GOMS model. Okay, so these are the 2 points the paradigms covered. Okay, see, one approach to answer these questions is by means of example, in which successful interactive systems are commonly believed to enhance the usability and therefore serve as a paradigms for development of future products. So what we are going to study now, see, like we have the generations of computer. Can you tell me the generations of computer? Anyone? Yes, do you know the generations of computer? As you have the generations of computer, first generation, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. Similarly, you have the versions of interaction. Okay, when your first computer was developed, okay, so how was the interaction between the human and the computer? Then in the second generation, how was the interaction and how it is improved up till now? Okay, so can you tell me the generation of computers? Yes, generations of computer. Yes, Kaustubh, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the generations of computer? What was the first generation or what mechanism was used in the first, second, third?
First was vacuum tube based.
Right. Next.
Integrated circuit based, ma'am.
First was vacuum based, right? Second was what your vacuum tube was replaced in the second generation. It was replaced by your, yes, transistors. Okay. And that was your second generation. In third generation, it was replaced by your integrated circuits. In next generation, it was replaced by microprocessor. So in this way, you have the n number of generations of computers. Okay. So we are going to see the interactions now, how it was basically. Okay. So similarly, what was the first mode of interaction? We are going to see here, theoretical framework. So paradigms are nothing but a framework or scientific world views. So you are going to take the views of the scientists who have developed the first version, second version, and so on. Okay. So understanding HCI history is largely about understanding a series of paradigm shifts. So we are going to see the shifts, how it was done. Okay. So what are the shifts we are going to see? See, so basically the interaction between the human and the computer, okay, in the first generation started with the batch processing system. Okay. Next you have is time sharing system. Then next you have a networking concept came into the picture. After that, the graphical displays were developed. Next was your microprocessor. So I'm not talking about the generation, I'm talking about the mode of interaction, how it was developed. Then next we have microprocessor. Then what? Your WW came into the picture, and now it's currently what your ubiquitous computing. Yes. So all this we are going to see how was the interaction between the human and the computer. So does anyone know what is batch processing? Yes. See, the first was what you're in first generation. You have here vacuum tube, and this computer basically were depend on what your batch processing means. What here it begins what with the use of punch cards. Okay, so whatever task your computer need to do, okay, the user need to have punch cards. On that punch card, you need to print your instructions what the computer you need to do. So whatever was there you need to do on the punch cards, and you need to insert that punch card into the computer in a batches. Okay, so using this batches, the input and output were handled by using your punch cards in the batches. Okay, so all the things were done what by a single user here. Okay, so what the user would do, would print the instructions or the input he need to give to the computer, or the set of programs what the computer needs to do, he would give into the punch card. Okay, he would insert that punch card in the batches, and he can do another work. So in this case, what was the scenario? Okay, the user was just inserting the punch card and he can do another work. So there was a lack of interaction between what your computer and your human being or the user, you can say. Yes, in the batch processing system. Again, the batch processing system was what insufficient. Okay, when the processing was done, then only you can see the output, and output was in the form of again in what punch card. That was nothing but again a printout type. Okay, so hardly you can say there was a interaction between what the user and the computer. Okay, and there was no innovative or interactive method. Okay, so that user can get attracted towards the system. And basically this batch processing was only used for a scientific purposes. Computers were used. Okay, so this was typically what your batch processing system. So next version came is your time sharing system. Okay, so this time sharing system was developed where in 1940s, in 1950s it was developed. Okay, so the significant advance in computing consisted of new hardware technologies. Okay, so it were replaced. So see here the vacuum electron tubes were replaced by what your transistor here, and transistors by integrating the chips. So all of which meant that the amount of share computing was increased by order of magnitude. So here what was done, the computing power was increased. So how it was increased? By the concept of time sharing. Means what, a single computer would support multiple user. In the case of batch processing was what, a single user, single computer. But in time sharing system, single computer and multiple users can use your computer system. Yes, so the computing can be done very fastly. Yes, and the interaction as compared to your batch processing was increased in your time sharing. Okay, so what is time sharing? Do you know the concept of time sharing? Yes, here your memory space, or you can say the CPU utilization will be utilized by what, multiple user. And the user, a single user will have an impression that he is having a dedicated computer. But in reality, what is there? The n number of users are using the CPU. So this was nothing but a time sharing. So each and every user who want to access a PC was given equal amount of time to perform their task. So you, because of this, the interaction again increased, okay, between your computers and the user. So here in this case, the user need to sit in the front of the computers and do their jobs. This was your second generation. That is nothing but your time sharing system. So the next version came is what now, your video display unit. So video display unit means what, here actually you can say, okay, your graphical interface was developed for the first time, and it was just a basic version. So when it was developed in the mid 1950, okay, where researchers were experimenting with the possibility of presenting and manipulating the information from a computer in the form of images on a video display unit. Now here the researcher have done first basic version, then time sharing. Now the researcher thought to do some more advancement. So instead of the printing pages and punch cards and all that, here they thought to innovate something where your images or audio video can be displayed in the form of what, visual representation. Okay, so it was done by using what, your VDU, or it is also called as visual display unit or video display unit. Okay, so in this era, the first time your graphical interface came into the picture, where actually your real-time images or objects were drawn onto a monitor by using some input devices. Okay, so see the second point. This display screen would provide more suitable medium than a paper printout for presenting a vast quantity of strategic information for rapid assimilation. Okay, and the earliest application of display screen images were developed. So basically, this model or this video were used in what your military application for air defense. Okay, so it was used for the air defense, and the first product which was developed, we have discussed earlier also, that was your sketchpad. Okay, the sketchpad was developed first. So sketchpad is nothing but it is used in for graphics designing, where you have a light pen, and using that light pen you can draw what your objects using a y coordinate and x coordinate. Yes, we have seen how the sketchpad looks in the third unit. Okay, so the display unit was converted in this form. Okay, it was just like your CRTs, yes, your television sets. So in this way, okay, the user will interact with the system or developed. Okay, and this is what the latest you have, that is LCD. Okay, so as I have said, Sketchpad was developed first, where Sketchpad demonstrated that the computer can be used for data processing also and for drawing the usual object. Okay, so the next version was your programming tool. Okay, so in the sketchpad, what was the concept? You can draw, okay, you can draw the objects, you can also store the data into the computer memory, and again you can manipulate this. So three basic things were developed here. Okay, drawing, storing, and recalling it, and you can manipulate the object. Okay, so next was developed is what your programming toolkit now. Okay, so the next was what Eaglebert was a scientist who thought that, okay, just of data processing and visual representation, computer can do more innovative. Okay, so instead of doing just data processing, computer can be also used for what? Solving complex problem, day-to-day problem, computers can be used. So what is programming toolkit basically? So it is nothing but you can say a set of software components or routings or building blocks, okay, where you are going to have widgets, okay, windows, scroll bars, menus, button. And using that toolkit, you are going to develop your interface or your application. So that came into the picture in this era. So that era was in what? 1963 to 1968. Okay, so it was put further by the scientist name is what? Engelbert at Stanford Research Institute. Okay, so the what the programming toolkit done? The right programming toolkit provides a building block to produce or to solve the complex interactive problem. So for example, MS Windows. Okay, so whatever Microsoft Windows is developed, so for that toolkit is what your Visual C++. Okay, and for like your Apple Mac operating system, you have toolkit name as your Mac app. So in this way, n number of toolkits were developed for n number of softwares. Okay, so that more interactive applications were developed, and interaction between the user and the computer again increased as compared to your display unit, time sharing system, and your batch processing system. Okay, again here in the programming toolkit, the Engelbert again developed a concept of what? Personal computing. Okay, personal computing means what? Here your personal computers and computing power came into the picture. Yes, like you can operate the computers, individual can operate the computers like laptop, personal desktops. Okay, so this came into the picture. Again in this era, one more language was developed, that is Logo. Okay, so it was a simple graphical language. Basically it was used by what? A small children. So this was a view of the Logo language. See here, you can draw a graphics by using this Logo language. Okay, so the children would draw various images or drawings using this Logo languages. Okay, or they can give the, you can get the usual effect. Okay, so using this, it a system become more powerful as compared to the previous one. Okay, then next was what your VIMP interface came into the picture. Okay, so we have already discussed. So once the personal computing was came into the picture, the next version was what your Windows system, that is WIMP interface. Okay. So in the next version, your windows, icons, menus, and pointers came into the picture, and which make the system more interactive and more user friendly. Okay, for the user to interact. Now, this WIMP interface was developed in such a way that even the person was not having a computer literacy, he can operate the system. Okay, electronic system as well as your hardware systems using the WIMP interface. Okay, so it come in which era the WIMP interface was developed? In 1981, it was developed. Then next came is your metaphor. So what it is? So metaphor is nothing but what your this augmented reality, virtual reality came into the picture. For example, like data in the computer can be placed in various form. Okay, so whatever data you going to represent through your computers, that can be represented in n number of ways. Okay, so that was developed in metaphor. So again, you can say metaphor is nothing but it is going to plot your real time activities into what a computerized form. Okay, like for example, they have given logo turtle dragging its tail. So for example, I said that logo language was used by children to draw the drawings. Okay, so next is what? File management on a office desktop. So using metaphor, file management which was done first manually, which can be done computerized by using what? File management. Next, word processing as a typing. Then financial analysis or calculation was done on spreadsheet. Okay, in your Excel. Again, your virtual reality came into the picture in the era of metaphor. Okay, where the user go inside the metaphor or he can view the system in the 3D and 7D environment. Yes, so in the metaphor, your virtual reality and all the real world activities was done computerized. Okay, so this you can see the examples. See, and again, the metaphors are used quietly successful to teach new concept in terms of one which is already understood. So, n number of interactive techniques were used in metaphor. So, the objects or the interface you are interacting was more interactive. Like interaction widgets such as windows, menus, buttons, and palettes were used. Okay, now the next come the concept of your direct manipulation. So what is direct manipulation? We have seen that the user can directly manipulate or user can directly handle the graphical elements like your windows, scroll bars, menu bars can be operated by the user just by using what? Physical devices like your mouse. Then you can use the screen touch mode or voice command. You can directly operate your interface. Okay, so interface we have seen again there were two types of interfaces, command line interface and graphical interfaces. Okay, so in the direct manipulation you have the both. Okay, so we have seen in the direct manipulation we have 4 points. Okay, the shader man. Okay, we have seen the concept of shader man in the third unit. So what he has quoted? He has quoted four concept here. Okay, so what was that four concept? Yes, we have seen yesterday's only in yesterday's lecture only. So what was that? The visibility of the object. Okay, so whatever objects or graphical elements you are going to plot on the interface, that must be continuously visible. Okay, next is what? Incremental action at the interface must provide rapid feedback. So as I have said that when you're performing certain action or when you're interacting with the interface or when you're performing some action, your interface or the system must provide what? Rapid feedback. It can be in the form of dialog box, it can be in the form of picture, or it can be in the form of what? Some convection or symbols. Okay, and next point says that what? It action must be what? Reversible. Okay, so it must provide the option of undo. Okay, next is what? Syntactic correctness must be provided when you type something wrong or if you write or password or username is enter incorrectly. Okay, or mail id is entered incorrectly, so validation must be provided there. Okay, to correct the error. Okay, so all these concepts come under your direct manipulation. Okay, so one more concept you need to remember here: what you see is what you get. Okay, in the direct manipulation part. So the next version came is what? Your language versus action. Okay, so you know that actions do always speak louder than the words. So whatever language was there which was implemented using actions now here. you were using n number of interfaces and programming language came into the picture to develop what your GUI, like Python, then your C++, HTML, and came into the picture here in the language versus action. Then next is what your hypertext. Okay, I think so there is no need to explain what is hypertext. So it was developed by, okay, it was developed in 1945 what by a Vanner Bush and the Memex. Memex is nothing but a memory or the index location. So using the index location or the memory location, you are going to point the objects on the screen. Okay, so it is nothing but the hypermedia and multimedia. So basically the hypertext was used for pointing what your multimedia, but the hypertext was not much used, okay, while designing your interface. Okay, so this is the example of what a hypertext. So it is similar to your HTML programming. Okay, so next came is your multimodality. So where actually the human came into the picture, okay, and using human sensory organs, you are able to give input or instructions to your computer instead of using any devices, physical devices, okay, and multiple channels were used for the input and output purposes, okay, in the multimodal system. Okay, so the next you have is what computer supported cooperative work. So in this, a single user, single computer. Okay, so electronic mail is the most prominent success. So here by CSCW, the mail system was developed more interactively. Okay, just remember the concept of mailing system here. And next came into the picture is what your World Wide Web. Okay, so it is simple, universal. It uses n number of protocols. Okay, languages like HTML. Okay, I think so. No need to explain about World Wide Web. Okay, and the last, we are in the generation of what ubiquitous computing. Okay, so understood the version of interaction, how it changed from the basic to now. So in the next lecture, okay, if the time permits, we'll start with what ubiquitous computing. Okay, so what were the versions of interaction? First was your batch processing, okay, where the interaction between the computer and user were lagged. Second, you have time sharing, so your multiple user and single computer. Next came is what your video display, where the interaction was increased as compared to your time sharing. Okay, then next came your programming toolkit, okay, where you have more interaction and more interactive interfaces were developed by using a programming toolkit. Then next came your personal computing, then VIMP interface, then metaphor. Okay, then direct manipulation concept was provided. Then your language versus action means here all programming languages came into the pictures. Hypertext, then your multimodality and CSW, and last is your WW and ubiquitous computing. Okay, understood the generation. So in the next, we will start with ubiquitous computing. Okay. Do you know anything about ubiquitous computing? Anyone? Yes. Yes, Pratik More is there. Pratik. Pratik More. Srirang is there. Pritesh. No one is there from this all three. Yes, roll number 1 is there. Okay, so all the students will be marked as absent. Next, Rutuja Guzar, are you there? Yes, Pratik. Next, Pratik Chaudhary.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me the versions of interaction? Yes, Pratik. Yes, Sakshi. Yes, Tejas. Yes, Sakshi, can you tell the version of interaction?
Ma'am, can I say ubiquitous computing?
Yes, you can tell. Hmm.
It is the use of embedded software and microprocessors in everyday life
So,
where we can make.
example, can you tell the real-time example?